So ladies and gentlemen, officially very, very big welcome to ICT712 ICT Project Management. These are the ways you can make contact with me. My email is fadi.kutub@koi.edu.au. I teach a number of subjects and I teach a number of tutorials. So if you would like to go and make contact with me, I highly encourage you to please tell me what course you're studying and provide in that email your contact mobile number, because this way I could call you immediately if I need to go and actually make contact with you and give you the guidance you need. Your confidentiality is very important. If someone tries to use a personal email to email me and try to ask for information relating to you, guess what? I won't give them any information. And that's why, for confidentiality reasons, I will only respond to messages that I send by using KOI's email address. So I highly encourage you, if your email address is not working at the moment, please get it fixed, because I would like to make sure I protect your confidentiality at any specific point of time. If you would like to go and have a meeting face-to-face and discuss any particular issue, whether we do it face-to-face, via Zoom, or whether we do it face-to-face in person, that's okay. You just need to email me. You can book an appointment. I'll be very, very happy to help you, because as I said earlier, your success is at the top of my priority list. Now, who am I? Well, I told you I'm a bit different to the people you've already studied with. So who am I? I have a very specific teaching philosophy. I'm committed to excellence in teaching. Things that I have to do needs to be done really, really well. People needs to be able to get the best outcomes, because that's who I am. That's how I work. I want to give people the best. To achieve my goal of excellence, I try to play a number of roles with my students. I want to facilitate my students' ability to gain a mix of theoretical knowledge as well as the practical skills relating to project management and how they go and actually apply it. I want to motivate you. I want you to trust in your ability to go and achieve the outcomes you want to go and achieve. I will believe in you so much, and no one will believe in you and motivate you more than me. You will find that out, and I will communicate that across, including when I reach week 12 and I deliver the final communication that is important to you guys. I'm a carer. I want to support you when you are my student in my class. I want to go and care for you. I want to go and guide you. I want to go and support you. So if you need anything at all, you make contact with me and you will actually go and get the care that you deserve, because I care about you. You guys are my children. I really care about your success. And finally, I want to support you after you are no longer my student and after you are no longer completing this course. I want to go beyond to help you in your needs after you've already went and completed this course. So that is basically something that sets me differently from other people, which is not simply I say, oh, you know what, I finish in week 11 or week 12 or whatever. See you later. Don't talk to me ever again. I'm here to support you. I've supported so many students into many things after they were no longer my students. I could talk about things such as, helping people get jobs, helping them fix CVs, to name a few. I actually won many, many teaching awards when I was working in public university, as well as got great teaching evaluation from KOI and from other places. And I will continue to do so and get those outcomes, because I care about you guys, and I will do my best to be able to ensure we're going to give you the best possible quality. Now, I'm going to go very quickly to the subject outline and talk about how you could actually go and survive this course. So let's go and open the subject outline. Right, where is that? Let's make a new share. That's my subject outline. All right, can you guys see the subject outline now?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. So this is my details. Dr. Fadi Kutub, you already have my details there. All the information, subject overview, what are the sort of graduate attributes I'm trying to teach you. thinking about the subject learning outcomes. Now, this here is very, very important. When, for example, when I'm going and setting up your final exam, I ensure that I set up your final exam by looking at what learning outcomes I need to ensure you guys deliver. All of these learning outcomes that are highlighted here are things that needs to be assessed as part of final exam papers. For example, we need to compare and contrast alternative project management methodologies according to the requirements of an IT industry project. So what is that? This is really relating to the project management body of knowledge and to the agile project management methodologies that I will be teaching you throughout the trimester. You will be asked questions in your exam about that. Look at D, identify and employ ethical practices of project management. Again, I will be asking you a question relating to ethics in your final exam. Why? Because if you go later and you see the schedule of assessment, you will see that the final exam is going to assess subject learning outcomes A, B, C, and D. So if you want to know what I'm going to be delivering for you in terms of your final exam or any assessment, you need to look at the learning outcomes, because that is what I'm going to be basing my work upon to ensure those learning outcomes are delivered. Week in, week out, there's a schedule. There are a lot of exercises we need to do in the tutorial. Now, I know there's now 13 of you here available. For those 13, I tell you, you don't come to the lecture, it will make it very hard for you to understand what you need to apply in the tutorial, because they go hand by hand. This is a postgraduate subject, and I designed this course accordingly to ensure there's an alignment. So you will learn things in the lecture, you will apply things in the tutorial. And this application, you need to continue to go and demonstrate when you're going to go and sit your various assessments and your various quizzes, including the midterm exam in week 6, including the quiz that is going to happen in week 4. So we have a quiz in week 4. We have a midterm in week 6. Then we have, and you notice here, week 7, I'm introducing agile project management. The reason why I introduced agile project management here, because I want to give you this time during the Christmas break to be able to start working on your assignment. So your assignment, ladies and gentlemen, will be due in week 10. But not simply you have 1, 2, 3 weeks, you actually have 4 weeks and 2 weeks break. So you have about 6 weeks to be able to do well on your group assessment. I'll talk more about the group assessment in a second. So if you go and look, there's more information, supplementary assessment, defer exams. And I'll tell you guys, honestly, I didn't even have one person, not even one person, not sit my exam. It's always very, very recommended you sit your exam to ensure it's going to make it easier for you in the future. If you delay your exam, it will make starting a new trimester very much harder. And your exam paper might be harder. Like, you don't want to actually have that chance. Like, come, do the exam on time, make sure you prepare, follow with my instructions week in, week out, and you will be very fine. We talk about all of these teaching strategies, what we'll be doing, lectures, tutorials, to name a few. We're talking about how you can get marked for high distinction. This is the assignment here. This is some to tell you the learning outcomes. Now, the group project is 35%, the midterm is 20%, the quiz is 5%, and your final exam is 40%. Now, you need to really do well, especially in these 2 assessments. And to be able to do well in these 2 assessments, there's a very simple thing you need to do. For the week 6, if you come on my tutorials every week and you come to my lectures, you will definitely be able to answer the questions in the midterm exam. For week 10 assessment, if you come to your class and you attend your tutorials, I will spend a lot of time guiding you on doing your assignments in the tutorial. So if you come and you attend with your group, because you'll be simply inserted into your group to do the work. If you do that, you won't have any problem whatsoever into getting the right mark for your group work. Now, the way that the group work mark is allocated is very simple. You go and you finish your report. If I hear about any team member that is not contributing to the actual report, because you need to evaluate each other. If you come and let's say there's team member 1, 2, 3, 4 and team member 5. If team member 1, 2, 3, 4 were evaluated as 100% contribution and team member number 5 was evaluated as 50% contribution, team member number 5 will actually get 50% of the mark. So if people got, I don't know, 90% on that assignment, which is worth 35%, that person who only got 50% of the mark will only get 45. So the evaluation of your work by the group will influence directly the mark you will get for the group assignment. Someone just joined me now. Who just joined me, guys? Who just joined, guys? Anyone? So one person I think just joined. Who was that? I'm not saying it so that I can get you in trouble. I'm just telling you so that I can say welcome. So you can tell me who just joined. Okay, that's okay. I'll check it later on the attendance. All right, let's continue, guys. So this is the prescribed texts that are available here. There's also obviously readings that are recommended. These are the assessment details. The quiz will test your subjects from week 1 to 3. The assignment 2 will test all the materials between weeks 1 and 5. The assignment is gonna ensure we test a lot of the methodologies, whatever I'm teaching from the beginning till week probably 8 and 9. It's about the project management body of knowledge, and it's also about the agile project management, and obviously the final exam. By the way, there's a lot of details here about your group assignment. You'll be able to see everything. You need to incorporate all of that information in your work. So you need to read that in details. And the structure that is required is very clearly highlighted here. And you need to go and actually have a presentation alongside your work. Now, the marking rubric is very clearly inserted here. You'll be able to have that. There's a mark, obviously, for the report as well as for the presentation work. And obviously, there's a final exam. Now, there are penalties. So if you don't actually submit your work on time, there are actually penalties that are available. And I haven't decided those penalties. It's something that COI employs, and it's something that I'm expected to go and follow. But have a look at that. And, if you want to go, if you're going to be late, please try to make sure you submit a special consideration. Now, there's obviously the information. If you want to request an extension, there's information about contacting the academic services team. There's information about plagiarism, where you should never, ever do it. Don't share materials. Don't do anything whatsoever, because I've seen many people getting a total 0 for their assignment. Last semester it happened, a semester before it happened, and it's all about the information we go and assess via Turnitin. Now, this is information about any appeal. If there's any problem with any mark, you can actually appeal. You can ask me. We'll be able to go and help you out. Now, my friends, do you have any questions about any of the information that I've just communicated? Any questions at all? Anybody?
No, sir. All good.
No worries, guys. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go back to the lecture. So, plagiarism, guys, what I've just mentioned in the outline, it's using someone else's ideas, design, works without appropriate acknowledgement. It's a very, very serious offense. Please make sure you actually read the university's policies on plagiarism, and please do not copy anybody's work. Now, a lot of people might tell me it's the first time I usually copy and paste and put a reference. No, whatever you are going to be using needs to be used and inserted as part of your own words. So please make sure you write in your own words. No copy, no paste, no using other people's work. Now, another reason why I say don't use other people's work is because the assignments are not the same from trimester to trimester. They are very different. The content is very different, and what you need to apply is very different. I found it so many times people trying to copy only to find out that I go and read it and I know that it's an assignment from before. Like, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Do your work hard with me. You can get the right outcome. Learning support offers information on avoiding plagiarism. You need to really understand the difference between, direct quotes and indirect quotes. You need to understand what summarizing is. You need to understand what paraphrasing is, which is using your own words. You need to understand how to integrate evidence from the various sources you read into your work. You need to go and understand how you need to go and reference correctly using the Anglia referencing format, because there's a marking associated with that referencing. Now, for any questions about any of this information, please feel free to visit the library, and they'll be able to give you all the guidance. And if you're not sure who to contact, make contact with me. I'll be very, very happy to guide you. Turnitin is where your group assessment must be submitted. Now, I'm not sure yet about the midterm exam, whether it's going to be face-to-face or whether it's going to be online. What I would say, guys, is we will wait until that decision is confirmed, and you'll hear about that. But evidently, any information about their submission will be communicated in due course. My very small, tiny request for you, please try to be on time, because everything I will communicate in my lecture will be relevant for your tutorial and might mean the difference between answering the questions in the tutorial or not being able to answer those questions. So please make sure you be on time. Please make sure you minimize disruptions. And I highly, highly recommend you attend all the lectures and all the tutorials. Now, I encourage you also to take notes. So you might want to take notes by printing a copy of the lecture and tutorial materials. You might want to go and take notes by, I don't know, just listening to my explanation and do it accordingly. Whatever you do, those notes will help you to go and develop your own style, okay? You'll be able to go and develop your own notes, which will be very helpful, not simply in completing assessments, but also in completing your final exam. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I start, I would like you to try something. I'm going to be asking you questions throughout the session, and I'll also be asking you questions in the tutorial. Now, you do not need to be live with me on a camera in the actual, especially during the lecture, because I'm going to be recording it specifically for now in case I need to upload it. But I'm going to be asking you questions, and you're going to be live with me, live with the camera in the tutorial, because we talk together in the tutorial, so you'll be live with the camera with me. But what I would like you to do, I would like you to put the thumbs up. There's an option for you to put the thumbs up on Zoom now. I'm going to ask you guys, do you have any question? Is everything okay? I just want to see the thumbs up. So could you try to put the thumbs up now using the system? So I want to try see everybody have using the thumbs up. Sanjeev, Asha, Anish, Sujita, Sanjeev, everybody. Yep, perfect. More people. Maikon, yeah, perfect. Raul, did you put it? Raul, Aisha,
Yes, sir.
Ravansi. Okay, now I can see so many people raise your hands. Are you raising your hands because you have a question for me? Raul, do you have any question?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. It's not about raising your hand. It's about the thumbs up. So not this is raising your hand. Raising your hand is when you have a question. So if any of you have a question, you can raise your hand definitely. But if you don't have a question, you basically put a thumbs up if you basically if you want to basically tell me. Yeah, perfect. So if you have a question, if you raise your hand, I'll be able to see it, or you can interrupt me and I'll be able to go and answer your question. Great. So I'm going to ask you guys, whenever I ask you a question, you can give me the thumbs up and I'll be very happy to ensure I go and answer your questions, or I make sure that you guys are going well. Now,
We can't find the thumbs up in the
what's that, sorry,
participant.
Jati?
We can't find the thumbs up, just the raise hand is there in the option.
You can't find the option to do the thumbs up?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, could you just tell Sajati where you found that option? Where was it? Was it straight on your screen, or where did you see it?
There is a reaction and then
Actions?
Is beside share screen.
Yeah. After the shared screen, there is a record, and then there is a reaction.
Reaction, yeah.
Yeah, there is a thumbs up.
Did you find it, Sajati?
Okay, thank you, sir. It's Sujita.
Sajita, sorry. Sorry, I do
Okay, sir,
apologize.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Sajita. All right, are we ready? Can we continue? Perfect. I can start seeing thumbs up. Well done, guys. Thank you very much. I love it. Thank you. Now, we're going to start talking about chapter 1 and chapter 2 today. We're going to talk in the first chapter about modern project management, organization, strategy, and project selection. All of these are the relevant topic for today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look from this picture in front of you, you know, how long have I been doing things that don't matter? Now, as an organization, we're very, very busy. We cannot spend our time doing something that is not going to be adding value. We cannot really go and waste our resources. One of the very, very important tools to be able to ensure we're going to get the best possible outcomes is project management. Project management is really the tool that enables me to implement all of these projects that are very, very important, not simply for my operational requirements or strategic requirements, but also to make sure we're going to be abiding by the regulatory requirements, as I'll talk more about very shortly. So for this chapter, we're going to talk about why project management is crucial in today's world. We're going to talk about the different project from a routine operation. What is a project and what is a routine operation? We're going to talk about the project life cycles. We're going to understand why projects implementation needs to be really aligned with the actual organizational strategy. If you don't select projects that meet the strategy, it is an issue. We're going to talk about that. We're going to understand that managing a project is not simply about knowing every technical thing about project management, but also about how do we go and deal with the actual sociocultural dimensions of project management, things relating to people, things relating to dealing and communicating together, managing negotiation, and so on. We'll talk about these things. We're going to explain why it is important for project managers to understand the strategy of their organization. We're going to understand the significant role of projects in contributing to the organization's delivery of the strategic direction. We're going to understand the need for a project priority system. We're going to apply financial and non-financial criteria to assess the value of projects, including you need to go and make that assessment as part of your tutorial today. We're going to understand how multi-criteria models of project management and project selection actually work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a project is something that is complex. A project is something that we don't do every day. It's not a routine job. A project is something that is a one-time offer. Someone tells me, I want you to do this. And whatever project they tell me will have a specific start time and end time, will have a specific budget, will have a specific resources, and will have a specific performance criteria we are trying to go and deliver. So the project needs to be delivered within time, within cost, within specifications, within using those resources, and we need to make sure we are going to be meeting the needs of the customers. Projects are not routine. Projects are temporary work we do. They're actually done to create a unique product, a unique service, or even a unique result. For example, someone wants me to go and build a bridge between Sydney and Melbourne. Someone wants me to go and create a new airport in Brudges Creek in Sydney. This is not something that happens every day. This is what we call a project. It will have a budget, it will have a start time, it will have an end time, and so on. So the major characteristics of a project: they have a clear objective, clear lifespan, start and end, requires cross the organizational participation, which means various people in the organization needs to work together to get the outcome. It could be HR, IT, marketing, sales. They all work together. Involve doing something never done before and have a specific time, cost, and performance requirements. Now, this is some examples of projects versus routine. If you come and you take class notes, that's a routine job. If you enter how much money and how much sales we've done every day in a store, that's a routine job. If someone make you a request in a supply chain system and you need to respond to it, that's a normal operation. Then what is a project? Something unique, something temporary. Writing a term paper. You're not going to write the same term paper all the time. Setting up a sales kiosk for a professional accounting meeting. That's not something you do every day. Developing a supply chain information system. You don't go and create a system every day. That's a project. Have a requirement, have specifications, have start date, end date, budget, and so on, to name a few. Now, we talk about a program and we talk about a project. Now, I'm gonna tell you these things with a small example. How many subjects are you guys required to do for your master's degree?
16.
16. If you wanna use your 16 subjects as an example to understand the difference between a program and a project could be finishing one subject in the project management degree. A program, however, is about finishing all of these 16 subjects, which when they all finish together will mean you now have a Master's of IT Project Management degree. So a project is a single project I'm trying to do. A program is really, a lot of time, is interrelated projects that together, when they're completed, will help you to go and finish a very specified outcome. The 16 subjects of individual projects will mean I now have a final project, or if you want, a final degree that is available. So a program is a group of related projects designed to accomplish a common goal over an extended period of time. Your common goal is getting your master's degree over an extended period of time, which extends potentially over around a year and a half or even 2 years. Program management is a process of managing a group of ongoing, interdependent, related projects in a coordinated way to achieve the strategic objectives. Now, when I talk about delivering any project, we talk about stages. Like, you're not gonna go and you know, start straight away. Like, if I go and tell you, okay, for example, if I go and say, now, if I say, Aisha, are you here, Aisha? Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to go now, and straight away, I want you to start writing your assignment. Can you start writing it now?
What, sir?
Can you start writing it? Yes or no?
No.
Why can't you?
So right now?
Yeah, right now. I want you to start writing your assignment now. Why can't you write it?
Because you haven't explained it yet, or it is like...
I haven't explained it. After I explain it, what are you going to do? I'm not tricking you. I'm really asking a question. So after I explain it, what are you going to do?
Sir, I can try to start, like I can do.
You're going to
Yeah.
think, how am I going to do it? Yeah?
Yeah.
And after you think, how am I going to do it? You're going to start doing it. And
Yes.
after you start doing it and you finish, you say, okay, it's finished. I'm going to close this assignment. Forget about it. I'm going to come to the next one. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
The same thing is how we go and deal with project management. Okay? So you go and think about, there's a definition, defining. What do we need to do? Well, we need to go and define what is the goal, what's the specifications, what are the tasks you need to do, what are you responsible for? All of this is about really defining what we need to do. I can't tell you go and do your assignment without really defining what I expect you to go and do. Once I go and define what I want you to do, you can plan. Plan the schedule, plan the budget, plan the resources, plan the risks, plan who, how many people you're going to need to go and get the project done. After you plan, you're going to start implementing that plan. You're going to go and manage change requests. You're going to manage to ensure, the quality is delivered. You're going to go and ensure you're going to develop a status report. You're going to make sure you're going to go and create various forecasting. All of this is about executing the actual project. And finally, you need to close the project. You can't keep, as I said, the project is a temporary job. So what do? You close it. How do you close it? Well, you need to close everything and move it to the customer. So what do? You train the customer so that they can go and manage the system themselves. You transfer them all the training materials, for example. You release all the resources that were working on the project. You evaluate to make sure you've developed the actual project and worked on it well. You go and look and say, what have I learned? What have I done greatly? What have I done poorly? Whatever you've done poorly, you'll be able to start identifying ways for you to go and solve that particular problem. So we're going to be talking more and more about all of these life cycle of the project. You're going to need to think about that life cycle when you are talking about your assignment and when you're making a comparison between the project management body of knowledge way of doing the actual assignment or doing projects and the agile approach of doing assignments. Now I'm going to stop here for a second, guys. Does anybody have any questions at all? Any questions? I can see the thumbs up. One thumbs up came up. So, okay. No worries. Devraj, can you hear me, Devraj?
Yeah.
Devraj, I'm actually doing recording, so I recommend you not have your camera live in the actual lecture. In the tutorial, it won't be recorded, so you can make it live there, but I recommend in lecture not to actually have your picture live so that you won't actually come out in the actual recording. Just a recommendation if you don't want to come up in the recording. Okay, my friend?
Okay.
No worries. All right, guys, so a project manager. Now, people might think, what's the big deal about a project manager? Like, a project manager is like any normal manager. They do the same job. But no, they don't actually do the same job, because a normal manager doesn't manage something that is temporary. A normal manager, let's say a manager of the HR department, they manage the same thing over and over again. If you think in contrast about a project manager, he's managing temporary activities, something that is not going to last for a long time. He's managing activities that are not repetitive. He's basically managing, to complete a fixed life project. That's what he's trying to go and manage. It's different than a normal manager who is not working to deliver something that is regular. Now, why is that difference? Because if you're talking about managing something that is regular, that means you already know how to do the job. You're not trying to explore something new. You're not trying to find, how should we do this? A project manager, however, is doing something new. We don't know how to do it. We have no idea. We have to speak to people. We have to ask this person, that person. We have to work together to be able to find a way for us to be able to go and really be able to go and implement that project. So it's a totally different job than the normal management jobs that we usually go and do. Project managers are usually having people who work with them for a short period of time. So as a manager, if I'm having someone that I've been working with for 2 years, I can easily motivate them or speak to them. As a project manager, you have to motivate people. You don't really work with them all the time. You have to get the right people. You have to make sure you work with them at the right time. You have to make sure you're going to address the right issues, make the right decisions. And these are things you are exploring, things that you've not done before, and you're trying to explore how should we best do all of this work. Now, why is project management something that is really, really important today? Guys, think about it from a project life cycle. Now, let me ask you a question. Guys, how long does it take for a company to develop a new mobile phone in today's world? How long does it take them? How long does it take a company to develop a new mobile phone?
iPhones usually come out every year, so.
Every year, but does it take them a year to develop it? What do you think?
Less than that.
It takes
Yeah.
less
Yeah,
than
I
that.
honestly think it's less
So
than that.
if it takes them less than that, why don't they release it?
To allow the previous product to gain,
Make enough money.
Yeah.
They want to make more money. They don't want to actually go and keep on introducing product. But if you think in the past, it used to take a year and a half for a new mobile phone to be produced. The amount of time it used to take to get a new product to life before, and the amount of time it takes to go and develop a new product today is much more different. Today, projects mean we can deliver products and services much more quicker than how we used to go and deliver things in the past. So that's one of the reasons why project management is becoming more important, because we want to deliver things more quickly, more efficiently to remain competitive. And that's what project management is actually helping us to do. Another reason why project management has actually gained more importance is the knowledge explosion. There's always new knowledge that is available, and project management is enabling us to go and make sure we benefit from all of this knowledge as quickly as possible. We talk about all of these triple bottom line. We no longer simply want to make money. We want to think about the planet. We want to think about people. We want to think about the profit. So what's happening is project management is allowing us to go and incorporate the thinking of all of these various topics as part of our work. So project management helped me to go and make more money. Good project management helped me to go and manage people in a better manner. Good projects are nowadays enabling us to go and do a lot of things that are basically better for the environment. If you think about recycling, for example, as one example. Another reason that is actually driving project management is the corporate downsizing. What is a corporate downsizing? Well, corporate downsizing is basically a company want to be able to find a way to always reduce the number of employees it has. Now, one way for them to do that is to be able to develop all of these new systems that could do the job that a normal person would normally do. And that's what a lot of time is happening through project management. We are focusing much, much more on the actual customer and what they need. And focusing on the customer and what they need means we need to go and develop work much more quickly than we usually go and develop normal work. So what I want to say is this increased customer focus is actually meaning that we are trying to go and use project management to listen to the customer, understand their requirements, and find a way for us to go and implement all of these projects very, very quickly. Finally, we talk about small projects representing big, big problems. So that project, that small project, is actually helping the business to be able to get a lot of good, for a lot of times, strategic outcomes and strategic goals that the business would like to go and be able to achieve. So because these projects allowing us to go and solve all of these big problems, there's more and more drive that is available for us to be able to go and actually follow and get project management to be further and further developed to get the best outcomes to be possible. Now, I'm going to play a very big video, guys. You can take your notes if you want to. Let's start playing it now.
Sorry, we can't hear, sir. Yeah.
Okay. What about now?
Yep, better.
Perfect.
Can you please close the ad, sir? Thank you.
All right, guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see this video is things are actually changing very, very quickly all around the world. And, if you go and think about, where we got from a TV, where we got to iPad, where we got to computers, big frames, small frames, guys, all of these development are actually supported by the go and delivery of various projects and the use of project management. Now, I would say project management, once it was initially introduced, wasn't really doing a great job. There were a lot of mistakes. People were not choosing the right project managers. But as time has developed, project management has become the key to delivering a very, very good change in an organization and delivering the best outcome and the best strategies of the organization. And that's really a tool that you guys need to know so much about and be able to go and implement in your life. Now, the reason why I say that is because you guys are studying IT. I have worked in the IT field. I know that project management, if you become a great project manager, you're going to be able to go and earn wages in excess of 150,000 every single year. You're going to be able to go and get involved with so many very, very important things. This is information I've communicated to you guys in the initial message that I've sent you. So learn this field, learn to become a great project management manager. I will teach you more about the field. I'll teach you more about the traditional way and the agile way. And I'll also encourage you to go and develop further your skills to be able to implement and become a project manager into the future. Now, we're going to talk about project governance. Project governance is about really managing the actual project in an integrated manner. And when I say about managing a project, I don't simply mean one project. I simply mean managing of all the projects in the organization. We think about thinking about all the project management activities, thinking about the big picture. We have all of these resources in the organization. Let's have a big picture of how all the resources are currently being used. Let's think about the risk. How much risk is currently existing in terms of all of these projects we are trying to go and deliver? We talk about a rough metric of the firm's improvements in managing projects relative to the others in the industry, because we're not simply about, keep on doing the same thing over and over again. It's about, there are a lot of advancements available. As a project governance, it is about how do we go and pick up all of these improvements and incorporate them as part of our own way of doing things in the organization. Project governance is about linking the senior management team in your organization with the actual executing management team who are actually working with project team members to go and ensure they're going to go and deliver the work that needs to be done by implementing various projects. We need to ensure at all times that any project we are working on is aligning with 1, our culture, 2, our strategy, because if we're working on something that does not meet with our strategy, it just simply means we are wasting a lot of our resources in the organization. So the portfolio management is about having a portfolio of so many projects that we are going to be managing at any point of time. The strategy is about ensuring any projects in this portfolio is linking to our strategic needs within the organization. And the project management here is about ensuring we are managing every individual project that is actually part of that project portfolio. They need to have an alignment. We have to work on the projects that are added part of that portfolio to evaluate risk management. And these projects in the actual risk portfolio are aligned with our strategic needs in the business and are aligned with the culture we are actually working on in the organization. Now, Major functions of the project portfolio that I'm mentioning here is we can actually oversee the selection of the project. We can ensure that any project we are choosing is meeting our strategy. We can monitor how much overall level of resources and skill are required to deliver the project. We can encourage using best practices when we're going to actually be implementing things. We're going to balance projects in the portfolio in order to ensure that we don't have a very, very high risk in the organization. We have more balanced risks. We're going to ensure that the stakeholders will be easily be able to communicate. For example, senior management will be able to see how the portfolio of all the project is being run and will be able to communicate directly with people who are managing all of these projects. We create a total organizational perspective that goes beyond let me work by myself and let me not work about anybody else. As I told you earlier, the projects are interlinked. So the project is linked to the program. Project 1 and 2 are interlinked. If they don't talk to each other, how are they going to actually go and achieve the best outcome? We need to improve the overall management of projects over time, which basically could help us by having people who manage the whole portfolio of projects within our organization. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I want you to bear in mind is I know there's a lot we need to cover today because we are really introducing the whole topic and we haven't even started with the technical side of things. But what I want you to know is the following. We will teach you about a lot of technical things. I'll teach you about writing a scope. I'll teach you about creating work breakdown structure, which is really, really important if you want to do well in your assignment. If you don't give me a detailed work breakdown structure, you will not get a good mark for your assignment. You need to go and have a schedule that is built on that work breakdown structure. You need to think about allocating resources, creating a budget baseline, how much a project is going to cost me. We're going to talk about status reports, reporting on how we are actually performing, how we're progressing in the project. Are we over budget? Are we on time? You do all of these various things that we call technical sides of project management. But this is equally as important, as you see here, to the sociocultural aspects of project management. We need to have great leadership. We need to be able to solve problems. We need to be able to work as a team. We need to be able to negotiate. We need to be able to manage all of these politics in our organization. We need to be able to understand what the customers really want and working on ensuring we are delivering all of these requirements. This is really very important that you understand now from the beginning that I will teach you both about the technical sides of project management and about the sociocultural side of project management, both of which are equally important to get the best outcomes delivered in project management. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? All right, perfect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about all of these, things to do with the project. If you look at this small comedy, if you want, after 8 months, senior management finally approve your project plan. But if people are going to take 8 months to go and approve something for you, in this technological world that we are working with at the moment, 8 months is way, way too long time. It's going to go and result in so much waste, and we're not going to be able to get the outcomes we want very, very quickly. So we need to basically work very quickly in today's world to be able to ensure we're going to continue meeting the requirements of the client. If we don't do that, like for example, we don't deliver exactly what the client wants, similar to what Nokia have done, we will basically go out of business very quickly. So we need to make sure we're doing the right thing. Now, doing the right thing is really about understanding what's happening all around us. There's all of these changes in the external environment. We're going to have to go and think about the external environment. We're going to have to assess what's happening around us. We have to make sure we're going to go and choose projects that will enable us to remain competitive in the long term. That's what we talk about in terms of what we call strategic management and strategic choice of projects. We're going to have to choose all of these strategic projects, and we need to make sure we're going to allocate the limited resources we have to be able to go and implement those strategic projects and develop and deliver the competition and the competitive position we have, keep on developing our position as a competitive player in the whole marketplace. We need to make sure any goals and objectives we have is really linked to what? Linked to our mission. Any goals and objectives needs to go and translate into strategic projects. Any projects we go and choose that is important strategically needs to go and be implemented. So there's all of these alignments we need to go and actually deliver. Now, we're talking about the mission. You know, there's a lot of time changes into our mission. We might be working, develop something, and then suddenly we go and find that the environment around us is changing. And because of that, we find that we also need to change accordingly. So project managers must respond to changes. They need to make the appropriate decision about which projects are we going to go and choose to develop and deliver in the future, and which one is not. They need to be able to tell senior management, this is the project that I'm telling you we need to work on. They need to be able to convince senior management that that project is going to actually contribute to the actual strategic mission of the business. If it's not meeting our mission and what we want to go and define ourselves at, the very simple question is, why are we working on something that adds no value? When you think about strategic management, we think about three things. What are we now? What do we want to be? How do we get there? What are we now? What is our mission? And we keep on looking at the environment, and that environment will affect the mission we go and actually choose. And that environment assessment will basically influence what goals and objectives I want to achieve. And once I know where I actually want to go and be, which is my goals and objectives, I can go and ensure there's a portfolio of strategic choices, specifically a lot of strategic projects I need to go and implement to be able to go and achieve all of these goals and all of these objectives. How do we get there? How do we get there is really about implementing my strategy. All of these portfolio of projects let me start implement my strategy to get those objectives and goals and to basically get my strategic choices delivered. Now, strategic choices could be, I would like to go and expand into the big electronics company, and I would like to go and develop 15 new TVs. My projects will then be associated with that strategic choice of my business. I select my projects that meet my strategy. I need to make sure there's a right project selection, and I need to start working on implementing every one of these projects. This implementation will help me to go and implement how do we get there, because the projects help me to get where I would like to go and actually get. When I talk about the mission, we need to continue review my mission. The mission is, what do we want to become as an organization? What sort of products and services we would like to go and deliver? What's the actual purpose of the organization to all stakeholders? How do they see us? What do they see us as delivering value as? The organization's goal of survival, growth, and profitability is really dependent on having a mission that aligns with what our stakeholders really are needing and are expecting. If you think about Google, that is their mission. Their mission is they want to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. That is the actual mission. When we talk about their mission, the mission needs to be translated into goals and objectives. And implementing nurse roles and objective will go and get developed in the form of various projects. And when we go and implement those projects, they'll enable us to be able to go and deliver the mission that we have chose to be able to go and deliver. We would like to organize the world's information. Well, they've done it through Google, especially the Google search engine. They're doing it through Google Earth. They're doing it through various avenues, but they want you to go and have all of that information available and organized and accessible. Like if I go now, a lot of the business that I actually go and manage, I manage using the Google Sheets. So I have my Google Sheets here on the phone. I go, I choose a sheet. Okay, this is one of my work. You can see, you'll be able to see here, you can see this is a sheet. This is the information I want. I'll be able to scroll down, scroll up. All of my information is really available that I've actually went and developed at any time. So I can go and use, for example, Google Sheets to be able to access my information and to be able to make sure it's useful to enable me to go and deliver my objectives. So we need to analyze and formulate the strategies. You know, this is really more about what I said here. What needs to be done? Well, we need to actually have the right strategies. You know, what needs to be done to reach our objective? It involves evaluating the past. Where were we? Where are we now? What's happening all around us? Is there a lot of internal competition? Is there a lot of external competition? What's our strength? What's our weaknesses? What's our opportunities? What are our threats? And this really will enable me to go and very clearly identify what choices I need to make for me to go and get the future to enable me to further develop how competitive I am as an organization. I need to then implement all of these strategies through the projects. I need to allocate the right resources, equipment, funding, people. I need to set the formal organization. There's a project team, there's team members, and I need to set up the informal organization. All of this engagement I might want to go and have informally, walking around, talking to people in various departments. That's what we call management by wandering around. And I will show you about that today in the tutorial, where we are going to be talking about a case study called a case. That's a case study we'll be doing later. A case in the life of. And this is really the case relating to how do we do things in terms of project management. So we need to set formal and informal organization that complements and support our strategy in projects. We need to create plans. We need to create control systems. For example, if someone's going to come and tell me, I would like you to go and implement a further change for me, I need to go and say, well, you know what? How are we going to ensure we're going to go and limit how people go and can actually go and request any changes to go and be done? We can't simply go and say, yeah, we're going to do what you want. We're going to have to go and actually indicate and show that that we are managing our projects well. If we're going to keep on accepting change without checking how much is it going to cost me, what impact is it going to have, and so on, my project won't be successful. So we need to create a plan and a system to control how we implement all of these various plans and any changes that might be requested. We need to motivate project contributors to reach success. Contributors could be people from other departments, could be senior management, could be our project sponsor, could be people who work as part of my team, could be external stakeholders, such as, for example, government agencies. They're all part of what we're trying to go and deliver to get the job done. Now, there's always a problem when it comes to the project portfolio management. Now, what is that? There's an implementation gap. There's a lack of understanding and consensus of organization strategy among top managers and middle managers. These people think we need to do one thing. These people think we need to do another. And because there's no alignment, we might be basically choosing projects, and those projects are not important strategically for my organization. A lot of time there's fighting in politics. We are delivering a project to someone because they are powerful, because they can persuade us, not because there is a fact that is proving that this project is going to be beneficial. We go and work on multi-projects at the same time, and there's a resourcing conflict. We start the project, we stop the project. We start the project, we stop the project. Why? Because our resource will have to go and leave from this project, work on the next one. Then they have to stop from the next one, come back to your project. So what's happening is you are stopping the task, starting the task, stopping the task, starting the task. And that's not good. And the reason why it's not good, because doing that would mean it's going to take you longer time to get the job completed. Because with every stop time, a restart will take you time to get organized again for you to start implementing the job that needs to be done. Is everybody good? If you're good, please show me the thumbs up. I can see 4 times up, 5, 6, 7, okay. Sujita, Sanjeev, are you guys clear? Any questions, my friends? Okay, remember, if at any point there's anything that is unclear, please make sure you interrupt me. Sujita, can you hear me? Okay. Now, let's continue. Now, when we have a portfolio of projects that we are managing, we have a lot of benefits. Why? Because we then have a discipline. We now have a very standard approach to ensure we're going to go and select the projects. We are linking the project selection to our strategy. Is it meeting my strategy, yes or no? If it's yes, then we go and choose that project. Now, today, in the tutorial, I am going to show you a case, and that case is called, if you see here, it's about film prioritization. This is something you're going to have to work on in the tutorial a bit later. So what's happening with that tutorial is you need to go and show how you are choosing the project by ensuring there's an alignment between the selection of the project and the strategy. And you're going to be able to go and see how do you actually do that practically. So you will have that activity directly. But that's really something that is really beneficial from a portfolio management perspective. We're going to prioritize project proposal across common criteria. Rather than politics or I like this assignment or I like this project, no, it have to be really good criteria. We're going to allocate resources to projects that align with the strategic direction. So we have to go and ensure we do that properly. We're going to make sure that we're not taking on so much risk. We're not taking on so little risk. We're going to have a balanced portfolio of various risks that are acceptable within the organization. We're going to be able, as a management of the portfolio, to justify why this project should be killed. If a project we're working on and that project is not adding any value, then we have to go and actually ask ourselves, why are we actually continuing? Let's stop it completely, and now will be basically part of what we are expecting. It also helps us to improve communication and supports agreement on project goals. We all agree on a strategic level, on a senior management level, and on lower level, what needs to be done, and we all become able to communicate together about how things are happening from a high level, senior management, the information they need, from the lower level, people who are doing their job, and the project manager will be able to give us the feedback that we basically go and require. Thank you very much, Sujita, for sending me the actual message. I appreciate it. Now, when we talk about a portfolio management system, how do we actually manage a portfolio of projects? Well, we need to design the system that will enable me to go and manage the portfolio. We need to think about the projects. How are they classified? Are there various classifications? Yes or no? We're going to talk about the selection criteria depending upon the classification. If it's, for example, one type of project, what sort of criteria we follow to evaluate whether to do it. If it's another type of projects, what sort of criteria we use for that. We're going to need to think about the sources of proposals. Who can come to me and propose to me a job to be done? Who can give me that proposals? We basically go and think about that too. Evaluating the proposal. When somebody comes and say, well, this is a great project, so have a look at it. It's okay, let me go and evaluate it. Is there a method for me to go and evaluate the project that you gave me? If yes, I'll sit down and I'll start making that evaluation. Managing the portfolio. The portfolio is all of these various projects that fit with various classifications. Let's sit down and manage the overall portfolio that we're trying to go and deliver. So, when I talk about projects categorization, this is where we talk about the portfolio of various levels of projects. Now, what I want you to know now straight away is now, very shortly, you are going to be working on question number 2. And that question number 2 gives you a number of projects, and it tells you need to go and classify those projects between, are they compliance projects? Are they strategic projects? Are they operational projects? Compliance projects are things that you are legally required to do, such as you need to ensure there are fire extinguishers in your, let's say, office. If you don't have them, you can't open the office. That's a compliance. Strategic are projects that meet with my strategic needs in the organization. Operational are things relating to me doing the job every single day. It could be I would like to go and, I don't know, just respond to, I don't know, implement an improvement in the actual ticketing system that I'm using currently in the actual organization. It could be an operational improvement you would like to go and actually do. But simply, there are more than one level of classification of projects. If I want to go and evaluate a compliance project or a strategic project or an operational project, the criteria I use to evaluate these projects won't be the same. The criteria will change because the importance of these tasks will actually go and change. Now, we're going to have to select projects. Now, how do we select them? Well, there's a selection criteria. There are many financial criteria and there are many non-financial criteria. Financial criteria could include something called payback method, net present value method, internal rate of return method. Non-financial could be evaluating projects, you know, of strategic importance to the firm without really looking at the number. For example, a project might be really important because it's going to help us to go and ensure we're going to develop a double improvement in our customer satisfaction. That's not a financial, that's more a non-financial. But improving customer satisfaction will enable me to directly be able to get a financial improvement in the future for my projects. They have a lot of time what we call a multi-weighted scoring model. Uses several weighted selection criteria to evaluate a project proposal. Really, I give you all of these criteria. I give you a weight for each criteria, and I'll ask you to calculate it. And that's something you're going to have to do very, very shortly when I basically go and load that exercise. The payback method measures the time the project will take to recover the investment. Now, let me ask you a question. Guys, if I tell you I have a project, and if I say the project will cost me $60,000 to be able to go and implement, and I tell you this project is going to give me a return of $20,000 per year. And if I ask you this very simple question, how long is it going to take for me to actually go and pay off that project that I've invested $60,000 for? How many years am I going to get my money back? How many years, guys? Sanjay said 3 years. That's correct, because my investment is 60,000. Every year I'm getting 20,000 from this project. So what you said is correct. I am going to be able to get my money back in 3 years' time. Now, this is a great, great method. The problem is it ignores the time value of money. $20,000 today is not the same value of $20,000 in 3 years. In 3 years' time, that $20,000 is actually worth less money. The payback method only assumes how many years is it going to take me to pay the project back. It doesn't think about, well, after I paid back, how much money am I going to go and get? No information on that. Doesn't consider profitability. Okay, we need to think long-term, longer period. Payback method is good, but you probably want to use other methods to go and make an evaluation accordingly with it. You look here. My investment is 700,000. Every year I'm going to save $225,000. So if I go and divide 700,000 by 225, I know that I'm going to be able to get my money back in 3.1 years. If I look on project B, 110,000 annual saving, my initial investment is 400,000. Then if I'm going to go and actually calculate the payback period, 400,000 divided by 110, I know I'm going to be able to go and get my money back in 3.6 years. So guys, this is just a very, very small example. You know, you're going to be able to go, you know, payback, accept less than 5 years and exceed 15%, you know, return. That's what they want. Accept less than 5 years. They want to go and actually accept this project. But really, our main concentration here is on how long is it going to take us. The rate of return is good. You know, how much return am I going to get on that project? This is something great if we can also calculate in addition to the payback method, but mainly the payback thinks about how many years is it going to take me to go and get my money back. Net present value uses management's minimum desired rate of return. In other words, if we want to go and get a return on our money, how many years is it going to take us to get that return? So if we have what we call a positive net present value, it means it's awesome. That's what we want to do. This is a project we need to go and invest in. If the net present value is negative, we're going to say, you know what, we're not going to go and get that project done. Now, the difference between payback method and net present value is the net present value knows and considers that a dollar in year 1 doesn't equal a dollar in year 2, and makes that calculation take into perspective that money loses value and incorporate all of that as part of the calculation itself. So if you look here, this is 2 projects, project A and project B. Year 0, how much investment they made. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, how much money they're getting per year. What's in every year. Overall, in year 5, you go and calculate the total outflow, the total inflow. Here, they are calculating how much value that money actually has in year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. And here we say about, well, the rate of return that is required is 15%, which means the project needs to make 15% for us to go and accept it. You look here and you notice that this first project is going to give me a net present value of $54,000. So it's going to give me a positive net present value that I need to go and actually go and select. This one here, it's going to give me a negative, which means it is not going to give me a positive return. And because I'm not going to be able to get a positive return, the very simple answer is I am not going to accept that project. Why? Because we calculated what's in, what's out, how much money is really, really worth in year 2, year 3, year 4, and eventually calculated the position, whether the project will be positive or the project will be negative. Now, what I would say is you probably won't need to do any net present value calculation as part of your exam or quizzes, but it's just something that is they teach you more about in probably more accounting for managers sort of subjects. They teach you about all of these calculations and how you actually get them implemented using a very simple Excel spreadsheet. Like it's very easy to go and add all of these formulas. If anyone is interested to know about them, I can send you one of those formulas or one of their spreadsheets that you can go and update and make the calculation yourself. Now, there's also non-financial strategic criteria that drive us to go and choose a project. For example, a project could help me to capture a larger market share. A project could make it hard for my competitor to go and enter the market. This project is going to help me develop an enabler product, which by its contribution will help me to get much more profit. The project will help me to go and develop a core technology that will be used in the next generation of my products. It will help me reduce dependency on unreliable supplies. It will help me prevent government intervention and regulation. You see, all of these are very, very important criteria to choose a project, but they are not financial criteria. They are non-financial strategic criteria that, if you want to think about it, they are really as important as projects that you go and actually work on that you have calculated based on some financial calculations. My friends, thumbs up if you're okay. And I know, Sajita, you can't do the thumbs up. So if there's any question, you can type it. I'll be very happy to answer it. Aisha? Pranahitha and Aisha, are you guys good? Perfect. All right, let's continue. Now, I told you earlier there's a checklist model that we might go and follow to choose our projects. So if I talk about the checklist model, we could think, for example, about a list of questions. We might be asking questions, and based on these questions, we go and decide whether we would like to go and implement a project or whether we believe it's not going to add value. A checklist fails to answer the relative importance or value of the potential project and doesn't really allow you to do a comparison across any other potential projects, because you are only looking at one checklist at a time. You're not putting the projects next to each other. For example, this is a checklist. Is our organizational culture right for this type of project? Will internal resources be available? How long will the project take? Is the time realistic? Will staff training be required? What is the estimated cost of the project? How does this project interact with current projects? Is the technology available, or is it a new technology? Now you can see this is a very straightforward list of questions, and I've only made it a very abbreviated list, but usually organizations have a list of questions. They answer those questions to go and evaluate whether to do a project or not. Now, as you can see, every project is evaluated individually, which means you're not really comparing the projects together to decide whether combined they actually add value to the organization. Another approach to create a comparison of various projects is to use a multi-weighted scoring model. What it does, it basically uses several weights, several criteria, uses qualitative criteria, uses quantitative criteria, and help you to go and undertake all of these calculations to be able to go and choose the actual project. Now, very shortly today, they're going to have one of those checklists here at the back. You're going to have to work through it to be able to go and select which film is actually strategic and which film doesn't meet our strategy. You're going to have qualitative questions here, quantitative question at the bottom, and you'll have to go and you see every here box, you're going to compare project 1 with project 2, with project 3, with project 4, with project 5. We're allowing you to make the comparison across various projects next to each other using the multi-weighted scoring model. Now, that's an example. Guys, could you please all focus, because I need you to make this calculation now. I have project 1, project 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and N. to be able to decide whether we choose all of these projects, we have all of this criteria. Criteria stay with the core competencies, strategic fit, urgency, 25% off sales from new products, reduce defects, improve loyalty, and return of investment that is greater than 18%. The way that each criteria works is each criteria have a different weight. Say with core competency, the weight of it, or in other words, how important, it's 2. Strategic fit, it's 3. Urgency, it's a 2. Sales is 2.5. So you go and think about all of these things. There's various weight that tells me how important each criteria. So return of investment of 18 means 3, means this criteria is the most important, including the strategic fit. Then 2.5, this is the other criteria that is the next important, and so on. Now, for every project, we are evaluating how we meet with that criteria. Between 1 and 10, we're trying to give a number. So how much is project 1 aligning with my core competency? Well, this score is 1. That means it's not very aligned with my core competency. How aligned is it with my strategic fit? Oh, well, project 1 is very aligned with your strategy. That's why we gave it an 8. How urgent is it? Well, it's a 2. It's not very urgent. 25% of sales from the new product. Yeah, it's a 6. So it's going to get me a lot of money. It is important. So for every project, we evaluate, we give it a number between 1 and 10. 1 is not very important. 8 or 10 is really, really important. So the more means the higher the number, the more the importance. Now, I want you to calculate the totals. Now, the way you calculate the totals, let me ask you a question, guys. 2 multiply 1 gives me what?
2.
2. 8, which is the second criteria, multiply by 3 equal?
24.
2 multiply 2 equal 4. 6 multiply 2.5 equal 15. 0 multiply 1 is 0. 6 multiply 1 is 6. 5 multiply 3 is 15. I add all of these totals, and that will give me the total evaluation for project 1. I want you to calculate the totals for project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and N. I want you to calculate the total for each project now. So please start working on this activity. I'm going to give you 3 to 5 minutes for it. Calculate the totals for me now, and let's talk about it in a second. Thank you very much. I'll wait for you to finish it. Any questions? Okay, if you're not sure what to do, please make sure you ask me. Basically, you multiply each weight by the value we gave. So you multiply this by this, strategic with the project, urgency with the project. You multiply each of them, and then the total you get per line, you combine them together to get a total. You're going to do that for every project individually, because that will tell us which project is more important and which project is less important. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, my friend?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Let's work through it now. Okay, so I can see, yeah, I'm pretty sure the first answer you gave me, Asha, is correct. So let's just continue with everything else, and then we'll be able to discuss the answers very shortly. So if we look here, guys, from the answers, what it will tell us straight away, it will tell us that some project like project 5 is the most important one for us to be able to implement, followed by project N, followed by project 1, and so on. So the one that basically have a highest number is the most important project that is going to add maximum value. And as you can see on one sheet, we are comparing more than one project together, and that's really the power of having one weighted factor that basically is enabling you to calculate more than one project next to each other to really decide what you need to go and select to implement in the organization. Now, a lot of times people will come and try to give you ideas. Where do you get ideas from for improvements? You could get them from contractors. You could get them from vendors. You could get from people within your organization. And whatever project you're going to go and get pitched to you, you're going to have to go and classify it. How important is it? Is it operational? Is it strategic? Is it to go and meet the legal needs? You need to go and highlight all of this information to be able to make sure you do the right choice. Now, steps involved in selecting projects. You need to apply a model that actually really bring the projects to a closer alignment with your strategic needs. It will help you when you have this standard way of assessment. It will help you to reduce working on any wasteful project. Anything that doesn't add value, you eliminate it. It helps you to ensure you identify the proper goals for the projects you are delivering. It helps everyone involved understand how the project is selected, and most importantly, why that project is selected. It is selected because it is meeting the need of my strategic business. You know, if it doesn't meet my strategic business requirements, there's no point for us to choose the project. We're going to get a lot of proposals. We're going to go and have to rank those proposals, you know, prioritize them. You know, it requires discipline. It requires people being accountable for their decision. It accounts people taking responsibility. It accounts ensuring we're going to go and allow less flexibility because we need to fit with the criteria. We need to be okay to lose power, not choose a project that we like, but choose it because it meets the strategic business requirements. When we choose things correctly, meet the requirements, meet our strategy, the outcome is we will manage a portfolio of great projects, and the senior management will keep on giving us that input about the portfolio. We'll keep on suggesting things that are aligned with what they are thinking the business needs to go strategically. We're going to have the priority team, the project office. They're going to become responsible of overseeing all the projects, finding any issues, finding what we need to do to go and improve, always giving us guidance. This is what we're going to be able to get from having a very structured approach of involving stakeholders, of ensuring we choose the right project. Our strategy will be delivered correctly. Our competitiveness will be further developed, and we ensure at any point of time we are developing exactly alongside what the clients really expect us to go and deliver. My friends, do you have any questions at all? Okay, Kevin, have no questions? Okay. Any questions, you're always very welcome to ask me. I'm very happy to help you guys. I recommend you review the lecture slides, tutorial materials, and the notes you've taken. Get familiar with the Moodle site, my friends. I will be uploading new materials for you guys as we move along. Read and understand the requirements of assessment. It's really, really important, and I really encourage you to ensure you do that before you come to your class next week. I recommend you read chapters 1 and 2. You can access the textbook in the organization in KOI, or you can even see it available online. There's, I think, 3 people allowed to read it at any point of time, but you can go and actually read the materials. They are available online for you. I want you to know that I really, really care about you, and I care about your success. I want to thank you very kindly for your time and for your effort. We're going to now move on to be able to go and implement and apply what I taught you in the lecture. We're going to go and implement it in the tutorial. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all your time.